Everybody, this is Scott from Lawrence Hypnotherapy, and welcome back to day 2 of your time challenge. And so, the 7 time management super tips for a successful 2019, even if you can't focus from stress, that we've been through a lot of challenges ourselves and we know how to overcome them. And so that some of the common issues, whether it's overcomplicating things, not knowing how to do it in the first place, or feeling almost that imposter syndrome, and not really stepping up to that next level when you feel that you're potentially not good enough, or if it's the 6-figure business that you want to build, not knowing what it is that other people are looking for from you in order to join your program, in order to sell it, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But there's a number of reasons that stop people from reaching their goals. And so if you haven't looked into mind maps, that's what we're doing today. That if you've seen Tony Buzan, who has books and courses and all sorts of things on why mind maps, basically this thing here that kind of looks like a funny shape, like a brain cell, like a neuron, that you've got kind of this central concept in the middle, and then it branches out into other concepts and then subsequent concepts from there. We use those to very, very quickly get an idea out onto the page. And so we've purposely not created printouts for you for this, because this is the kind of thing that we want you to feel that you've got a sense of responsibility in this program and not get stuck for silly reasons. So if you've got a pen, if you've got a paper, pull it out right now. If not, pause it, we'll wait. But I want you to draw a mind map, which is basically a circle in the middle and then lines coming off it. That's basically all it is. So let's get into the concept of what is your actual goal? What is it that you're actually here to achieve? So we start with, here we go, the central goal. It could be about money, it could be health, it could be about relationships, but most of you it's about a 6-figure income. What is it that you want to get specifically? So just put in the middle of it, I want 6 figures, I want to speak from the stage and get paid, I want to produce online programs, I want to do one-on-one, I want to do online courses, whatever it is that you want to do, write down that in the middle. Say how much you'd like to get paid, and say when you'd like to have that up and running by. And that's your central goal. From there, we go to the next layer, which is the obstacle. So under the obstacle where it says, affect pointless expectations or tired. If you remember from yesterday when we talked about these values, when your values, your short-term engine gets violated, the obstacles come out. Then the long-term doesn't happen. The long-term GPS system doesn't work if the short-term stuff's not working as well. As in, if you don't feel good on the day, then generally not a lot happens. And so what we're talking to you about is how to overcome that, how to create alignment between your long-term GPS or your compass and your short-term engine or your values, and how to make sure they're working together in a way that you're going to get from the start to the finish all the way through without needing to feel not needing to fall into those traps of losing focus or complaining or whinging or any of those traps that steal $100,000 per year off people because they used complaining or they used confusion to become poor, to become broke, because they didn't realize that there's a style of thinking that will actually get you there. You've got to have that resilience, but basically once you've got your central concept, what we want you to write down is what are the obstacles that are preventing you from getting there, and just taking a bit of time to do this. So there's 24 hours in the day. It's not that you have more or less time than everybody else, it's how you're prioritizing it. It's how you're basically choosing to allocate those times. And there are some things that you can't reduce, say if you've got kids and you've got bills, those tend to be things where you've got to do the 9 to 5 and you've got to hang out with the kids and live up to some particular responsibilities. But you might be able to get half an hour here or there. You might be able to get an hour here or there. Because if not, then life's been set up horribly. The boundaries have not been set up properly. The roles have not been established in the house. There's some issues that need to be addressed, or else that problem's not actually going to go away. That problem's still going to be there in 15 years. So once you've written down what your central goal is, I want you to come up with any style of obstacle that you can think of. Is there someone in the house that's bugging you? Are the kids annoying you? Do you find that Facebook is hard, or that online marketing is too difficult, or you just don't know how to do it? But write down what your obstacles are, again, with a paper and a pen, and submit it to the group for us, just so that Philip and I know where you're coming from. And these value violations, the coming from effect instead of cause, coming from feeling pointless instead of meaningful, coming from expectations instead of agreements, coming from tired instead of spirited, we're going to get into soon about how to overcome those as well. Then, your third layer is about your path, which is another acronym. If you don't know like this about us, we're acronym junkies, and we love to use acronyms to be able to explain points because they're just easy to remember. So path is about the multiple styles of resources you have that help you to overcome obstacles. So when somebody just says, I can't, that's the death of their goal. Their thinking has finished, and they have concluded that they have failed at their objective because they've announced it. They've said, it's a failure, no more success can occur. And that is a thinking style. It's like with Robert Kiyosaki when he said, in one of the houses that he grew up in, you were allowed to use the word can't, and in another house that he grew up in, you weren't allowed to use the word can't. So in the one that you could use the word can't, he was sad, and the dad's there asking, well, what's wrong? He's like, oh, well, I just want this skateboard, but I can't afford it. It's like, yeah, I know, so you may as well forget about that, because you can't afford it. And then he goes to the other house, and the other dad's like, well, what's wrong? You seem sad. It's like, oh, well, I want a skateboard, but I can't afford it. And he's going, well, we don't use that word in this house. I'm like, what word? We don't use the word can't. Well, that's silly. Like, why would you ban a word? It's like, because it changes your thinking, which changes how much you're able to achieve. It doesn't matter about how much money or time you have. It's about resourcefulness, not resources. So he's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how is getting rid of the word can't going to get me a skateboard just magically? He's going, well, think about it. Well, I can't get a skateboard because, I'd need money. Like, well, how much money do you need? Well, $40 to get a skateboard. It's like, well, how would you get $40? Well, I don't have $40, so I can't get it. It's like, well, stop using the word. Stop using the word can't. All right, well, I guess, the only way that I could get $40 is I'd have to mow my next door neighbor's grass or get a job as a paperboy. It's like, well, there you go. You've just found 2 ways of getting $40. So you can have a skateboard. It's just that you have to stick with the problem a little bit longer with the attitude of well, yes, I can. A lot of people just kind of do that stare ahead into blankness and go, I can't. Don't do that, because that's basically, it's not the attitude that's going to get you the 6-figure income. So path, proficiencies, this is like your skills. So let us know, what are some things that you're good at? Are you good at research skills? Are you good at computer skills? Are you good at people skills? What are you good at that's going to help grow this goal, that's going to help you get through it quickly? Because if somebody says, well, I want to build a 6-figure business, but I can't because I don't know how to set up PayPal. Well, what are you good at? So the obstacle was they couldn't set up PayPal. Well, what are you good at? Are you good at researching? No. Well, are you good at asking for help? Well, yeah, I guess I'm good at asking for help. Great, we'll do that. Are you good at going onto YouTube and typing in how to set up a PayPal account? If so, do that. So there's always a way to get through, but start by taking the time out to stop and slow down and write down what is it that you're actually good at, because this is the stuff that's going to meaningfully change your life in a way where you're going to thank yourself at the other side. Assets. What do you have? Do you have an internet connection? Do you have a Facebook account? Do you have a PayPal account? Do you have things that can help you? Do you have an email list? Do you have a marketing list? Or do you have a marketing background? Or do you have skills in psychology? Or do you have a Cert 4 diploma? Or do you have, what is it that you have that could actually be an asset to this goal that you have? And just write it down. Maybe 5 to 10 things. Tools. It could be I have a camera phone, I have an internet connection, I have an office, I have, well, what do you have that can help you along with your goal? And with help, who do you know that also have assets or tools or proficiencies that could actually help you with this? Because you're in this group, you can actually ask us for help, you can ask each other for help. We will explain things as you ask questions to help you to reach your goal. We've helped multiple people build 6-figure businesses. To us, it's kind of at that point where it's not that hard if people are doing the steps, as long as they're not taking, 10 months to do something that takes 2 weeks, we can help. It's only when people get stuck and basically stop doing the work, in that case, then like they need to kind of work on their values and go, well, what are the values that are preventing you from getting your work done in 2 weeks and causing you to take 10 months to do it? Is it imposter syndrome? Are you fighting with a partner? Are you kind of not focusing on your work enough yourself, and you're kind of like giving it to someone else to do who never agreed to do it? When should you be asking for help, and when should you not be asking for help? So this is like how it all sort of fits together. It's that to win, you need your GPS, so you need your long-term vision on your goals, and you need your values working together, because if they're not working together, then nothing will actually happen. So the goals, basically proficiencies, assets, tools, and help. That's the path. Flow, energy, alignment, and passion. These are the values. So imagine, like, say that, like, if someone hasn't got a list or they haven't exercised, then they're not, if they don't have a list and they don't have the energy to move forward, they're not going to allow their task to flow from one step to another, because they just don't have it written down, or they've got all these loose notes written down that aren't connected to each other in any way, as in it's not part of the bigger picture goal. They haven't worked out what they want, what one strategy is, and then continue with that flow. They keep dumping their to-do list and picking up some random one or some extra one where they never finish things. So they need flow. They need to honor the finish line and the flow by having a list, or else these things won't help. The energy that people need to make sure that they're communicating boundaries and that they're getting enough sleep and nutrients and hydration, so that they've actually got the energy to move throughout the day, because there's nothing worse than trying to be in flow but being tired. So alignment, let's say that if what if there's something that you want, but the only method you know how to do it is to hurt someone else. Let's say that you wanted to produce a 6-figure income, but the only way you knew how to do it was through a scam. That's an alignment issue where you're violating your own alignment. So you can't move forward because you don't believe in scamming people. So you need to change your method, or else your values won't let you move forward, if that makes sense. So that you need to charge enough that you're getting enough return, but you also need to give enough help that it's worth what people paid. And so the P for passion, this one basically is to do with that if you're putting something out too cheap, that's like you're charging $1 for an online course, instead of like helping people but also getting a reward, making sure that you get that 6-figure income, you're not going to have enough energy to get through your day if you know that you're doing it, but you're doing it for no reason, because you're charging $35 or you're charging $1 instead of charging, like $200 an hour, or charging $5K for an online course or $10K for an online course. Like if you haven't tapped into that money yet, you haven't found people who buy 5K, 10K products from you yet, you're likely to be in this place where you don't even know that it exists or believe that it doesn't exist. Whereas like there's people doing it, like we've done it, our coaches have done it. It's been like, it's such an eye-opening thing to see that when you get the alignment and passion, to say alignment is help people more, passion, ask for more back, flow, make sure that you've got a list that's connected with your big picture so that every day you know what you're doing. Energy, make sure that you set up your boundaries and your health, so that as you move through your goal, like when you say like, well, what's the big picture, what's my obstacle, and then how do I overcome an obstacle, that your values don't get in the way. So this is kind of like how it could all come together. Like say, how would you get, let's say, like a 6-figure business? Like it's pretty simple. There's the start line, there's the finish line, and in between there's just some steps. So at the top we've got like your actual goals or your path, at the bottom we've got the values. So number one, like if you say, well, just grow traffic, just do that. So like 1 is grow traffic, 2 is grow trust, and 3 is make sales. And then finally you deliver a product, and then there's the 6-figure business. It's awesome, you just do those steps. Well, to begin with, grow traffic, you might want to set up Facebook ads, Facebook Lives. There's an ebook that we wrote, which is very cheap for you to buy. We call it the ATSTO formula. So there's the attention, topic, story, teach, offer, which are things that we've put out in our videos. We've had some that have had nearly 22,000 views. We've had one backyard video that made $1,000 in the first day, just off $37 sales. And you can see the proof in that book when you get it, when you can see links to each of our Facebook videos and what we've achieved through them. Others that have had, hundreds or nearly thousands of email addresses come through one video. And writing very, very short ebooks, which helps to grow traffic, helps to grow your list. And so this is like what the ebook looks like, the how to make Facebook videos that attract hypnotherapy clients. And then the next one, number 2, grow trust. If you want to help to grow trust in the market, pre-trust videos, where we've got this system where you produce your indoctrination video, and then your Mythbuster video, and then your case study video, then you release ebooks and you release emails, and this helps to make sure that the people on your list are engaging with you, they're talking to you, and they're showing that they're getting closer and closer to wanting to buy something from you. And so there's another ebook we have, which is about the same price, which gives you the exact formula to find out like what your headlines will be, what your customers actually want. So these things are all easy to do. Just ask us questions and we'll answer them. Then number 3, make the sale. Charge a premium, make sure you're charging enough. Make an offer, which is something a lot of people don't do. They keep telling people that they're an expert or a hypnotherapist or an NLP master or a coach or whatever they call themselves, a consultant, but they're not actually making an offer. There's no HOC, like what we call the HOC, the headline offer call to action, as in name of the program, name steps price of the program, and then tell people to join it. And there's no campaign cycles where they're building trust and selling programs, So that if people, if they don't have like a 6-figure income yet, we've got this program, which is a 10-month coaching program, obviously, where we work with you for 10 months, for a year in this one actually, to help you to get to the other side, to turn your finished funnel into a 6-figure asset. So let's go back to, this is what the steps were. Grow traffic, grow trust, and make sales. If you do those 3 things, you'll end up with a 6-figure business. So literally, it was just like Facebook posts, Facebook Lives, ebooks, then grow trust, keep teaching people things, an indoctrination, a Mythbuster, and a case study. And then finally, make sales, charge a premium, make an offer, and do campaign cycles. Anything else is, like if that's your central goal, then you need to write down, well, what are your obstacles to making these things happen? And do you have values violations that are preventing you from getting this goal? If you see what I mean, like the values that get in the way. Because like finally, if it leads you to this 6-figure business, why wouldn't you want to get there? If you end up with the money, you end up with the mission, you end up feeling good about yourself for doing it, because the values got in the way, because the values were out of alignment. And so flow, energy, alignment, and passion. So starting with flow, a lot of people, they haven't really brought commitment or intent. They haven't said, I'm doing this, I am producing this this project. They don't have a list every day of what they're doing. They don't, like with my brother and I, we carry a clipboard everywhere we go, from like, which cafe we're going to go to, what we want to discuss when we get there, what the outcome needs to be, and then like if we're putting on a course, what the problem, the path, and the promise is, as in like the problem that people have that causes them to want to buy from us. We go through our DDFF formula of dreams, desires, fears, and frustrations. We find out their dreams, which is their future positives that they want, desires, which is their now positives that they want, fears, which is their future negatives that they don't want, and frustrations, which is their current negatives that they don't want. And we work out what's going through their head. We do polls and surveys in our Facebook group to find out what people want. So we know from our DDFF what people want. So from the problem, the path, to the promise, we know what the problem is. Then, because we've done our surveys, we then go through a path to show them how to get to the other side. And then the promise is what they can end up with as they complete the work. So that if you're not in a state of flow, then those 3 steps of basically produce traffic, and then trust, and then make sales, and then deliver your product. Without a list, it's just not going to happen, but a lot of people still don't have it down on paper. And so with the mind map, like if you can draw like just a circle in the middle and say the central topic is, I want this 6-figure business, or whatever it is that you want, then the next layer around it, write down what are your obstacles. What are the things stopping you from getting it? Like to build the traffic, to grow the trust, then to make the sales. Is it that you don't know how to set up email campaigns? Is it that you don't know something else? The visual design? Is it that the ad spend is too high, you don't know how to get free traffic? Write down what the obstacles are, like make sure you have a list. And the third layer is absolutely about like, well, what are the steps that I need to do to overcome them, and have them on the piece of paper, so that if you don't know how to overcome them, your job is to ask how to overcome them. Energy, having boundaries and communicating those boundaries. Like if people aren't communicating their boundaries, their partner or their friends or their family or their whoever it is, they're not psychic, they don't know what you want. They don't know when you need to be left alone, and they don't know when you need to ask for help. So it's up to you to ask more and to tell people more when you need to go away for an hour or two. Alignment. So this one, it's about like either having no mission or no tribe. So if you don't know who it is that you're trying to help, what your topic is or what you love, do you love to help people with addiction or insomnia or anxiety or depression or relationships, dating, divorce, or is it money, or is it business somehow? If you don't know exactly what your mission is, then you don't know who your tribe is. It's kind of like trying to cook a 7-course meal for yourself when you just sort of feel like eating cat food, because you go like, well, just me, so I'm just going to order the pizza. I'm not going to kind of produce this healthy, 7-course meal or whatever it is. I'm not going to produce like the health food, because I just feel that if it's just me, why would I bother? So that's where sometimes you need to know who your tribe is. You need to know who's counting on you. You need to know what's the bigger picture of the people in your life. What's the community that could potentially suffer if you don't go and help them? They need your help. And then the passion is that you need something back. You need money, you need other types of rewards. You need like entertainment. You need to like, well, what's the thing you want to watch on TV? What's the book you want to read? Where's the place you want to go? Where's the travel? Like, where's the people you want to hang out with? And you need novelty, and it needs to be planned in advance. So if you don't know exactly how you're going to get something back for you out of this, as in like, are you getting praise from it because you like status? Are you getting survival because it helps to pay the bills? Are you getting identity because you now know what your purpose in life is? Or do you feel loved because you're part of a community? That's the passion that you need to know. Like, what are you getting back from all of these efforts? Because going back to kind of this this map of the whole thing, even though, like, I know there's only 3 steps: grow traffic, grow trust, and make sales, if you want to build a 6-figure business. But within those steps, there's a lot of micro steps. It's a big journey going like, well, now I need to know like my audience. I need to know how to teach something. I need to know like the computer skills. I need to know the money and the business skills. It's like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff and I need help. I need to make sure that I don't burn out while doing it. That's why it's so important to make sure that like with your passion and everything, that you get something back. You're in flow. You've got the energy, the alignment, and the passion. Because then, with the homework, it's going to zoom out a little bit. Today, I want to hear a bit more about what is your big goal. More specifically, what does your goal look like? And I want you to put it on the mind map. So draw a circle, write what your central goal is in the middle, write what you believe your obstacles are around it, and then on the third layer, just say like, what are some of the path things you have? Like, what are your proficiencies or skills? What are your assets that will help with this? What are the tools? And who can you ask for help? And then how are you showing commitment to your goal? Bringing intent. Because that's how you do it. Like, you bring intent and you win. And if so, do you have skin in the game? And how are you showing that? Being here is one of the methods. And what are your values? Like with flow, like, do you have lists and are you exercising to start your day? Are you looking after your energy with your boundaries, your health, and your communication? Communicating those boundaries. Are you creating alignment for yourself? Do you know what your topics are that you're into, or like why you're doing this? Do you know who your tribe is? And with passion, what are you getting back? The novelty and the reward. Novelty as well as something that's really important, because if you don't feel that you're learning new things, or if you don't feel that like you're accessing new people, or if you don't feel that you're getting a new reward for it, it can be hard to like keep pace. So thanks again so much for being part of this, and we'll see you tomorrow.